At the age of 17, as I was about to enter my second year of college or high school, um, I asked my parents to buy me a pair of jeans. And I'm going to tell you where I'm trying to go with this analogy. But my parents refused me. They say, "I'm sorry, we can't help you, with a new pair of jeans. You'll have to wear the old ones, basically." Every kid at the start of the new year, of school, new semester, they had new clothing, new jeans, new coat, something. I'm not sure if it was a tradition or that's how it was at the time. But my parents told me no. They refused me, basically. They didn't tell me why or anything like that. They just said, "I'm sorry, we can't help you." So I stormed out. I stormed out the apartment, basically, very angry um, and upset, And I went to a different block of flats, basically. I sat down on the stairs and I just cried my eyes out. I cried a lot and I was very upset and I couldn't understand, why my parents can buy me, a new pair of jeans, school's starting, so I need fresh clothing and I had to wear the old ones basically, the old pair of jeans or, the old clothing or anything like that. I couldn't understand at the time, I was naive and stupid basically. That's reality I was in. But that moment, when I was crying my eyes out and I was just very upset, that I'm gonna be probably the only kid with just the old clothes probably in the classroom, basically. Um, I made a promise to myself, I made a promise. I mean, that anger, that upset, um, triggered something in me, triggered like a fire, something in my belly that it made me it had to make me like a promise. It was just like, okay, from now on, whatever I do in life, I will make sure that my future children will never, uh, or me as a parent will always have the means and the financial, status at least to buy a new pair of jeans for them, not to go through what I've been. Later on in life, I realized that, I was naive, stupid, and actually my parents gave me everything, literally everything. They raised me in a good way, I would say, and I can't thank them enough. But at the time, I was very upset and made that promise, that whatever I'll do in life, I will make sure that my future children will never have to ask me, and I can't afford for them a new pair of jeans. So that promise was made, that fire triggered in my belly, basically. And after and forward in years, after 17, I looked for a way out, What I'm trying to say by this is I looked for ways, to work, to be independent, to have my own spare money, spare pocket money, basically, So because I hated asking my parents about, oh, can I have this? Can I have that? Always depending on them, So I was looking for that independency, basically. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is that that promise was made, and it followed me years afterwards. Um, and now I am in a situation where I can safely say, I kept that promise. I can financially, support my two amazing daughters with pairs of jeans if they want, So I'm lucky, from that point of view. I'm grateful for that. What changed is that when I look back, is that I didn't realize the pressure my mom and dad had, even for a pair of jeans, they had other pressure on their mind that they couldn't afford at the time because they other had other things going in their life, and as much as they wanted me to buy that, it wasn't possible because something else, some other things were more important, basically, food on the table or anything like that, which, as I said at the time, I was naive, stupid, couldn't understand. I think we all go through that stage, basically. Now, here I am I'm 35 now. I have, as I said, I have two amazing daughters, a lovely wife, and I start to understand the pressure. I start to understand the other types of pressure as a family man, as what I need to provide for them, everyday worries, basically, I live in a rent. I don't own anything like any real estate or anything like that on my name, hopefully in the future, So I kind of depend on my landlord, basically, and all that. And that's a pressure as a father, and probably, and my wife has it too, But sometimes I think of that. So the reason I created this channel really is that from here forward, I want to document my journey. I said, let's record this. And why I say it is because that fire, most likely, since my daughters were born, I have it again. I have that fire in my belly when I asked for a pair of jeans that triggered. I have it again to make it, to do something. I'm not sure what yet, but I hope with time, the path will be shown to me. So that's why I decided for a full year. I was really waiting for next year to, New Year's resolution, kind of like that, to start. But I said, why not? Let's start now. Let's get into the habit of it and see where it goes. Those genes, which I asked 17 years ago, now I'm 35, so it's, well, 18 years ago, triggered that fire. And now the irony of life is that 17, 18 years afterwards, I have that fire again because I realized the pressure, as a parent, as a husband, as a future for my daughters, basically, And that is the reason I created this channel. So thank you if you've been listening. And what I promise you as a viewer is that I'm going to document every inner emotion, feeling, deep thoughts, anything which helped me go through it, basically. You know, I was planning to record this outside, but it's very rainy, so I usually like more the outdoors. But thank you very much anyway for listening to me, and thank you. That's all I can say. I've never been in the camera before. This is my first time, really in front of a camera. It's I'm not used to it really. So yeah, thank you once again, and I'll see you in my next video.